So I get back from Japan. I go straight to work. And then I have a funeral the next week. And now it's the week after that. So let's just say I'm very behind in my obligations to ministry. And then the demonic realm is trying to keep me distracted and busy doing nothing. But here we go. Okay, so we're at Proverbs 13. And remember, Proverbs is important because King Solomon wanted us to have technology for the future. The same way we use math to build buildings and computers, God used wisdom to build the universe. So if you have good wisdom, you have the tools for good life, competent life, where you can build skyscrapers and build telephones. I almost said telephones. So this is the reason I want you to have wisdom. Wisdom is very important to me because it's what I use to get spiritual powers, what I use to get the 9 gifts of the Holy Spirit. And it also kept me out of fights. Proverbs 15:1 says, a gentle answer turns away wrath. So whenever a bully came up, instead of thugging up, instead of getting pulled into the fight and the drama, I would just make a joke or I would say something silly. When I was a bouncer at a bar, I asked to see this guy's ID and he said, F you. And I said, oh man, please, can I see your ID? And he goes, F you. And he had that thug energy, and even part of me wanted to thug up and start to fight. And I remembered wisdom. I remembered that I think first because it's less expensive to think first and do a good action than it is to get drawn into an action quickly. If I were to thug up, I could have lost my job. My job was pretty good. All I had to do was stand around and talk to people and check their IDs. If I'm in trouble with the law, I don't get to play video games that weekend. I have to hire a lawyer. That costs money. And so you need to think about these sort of things, and wisdom helps you do. So I said, please, man, I don't want to have to follow you in there and then call the police and it's a whole thing and I might lose my job. And he's like, no. And so I made my hands into heart. I said, please, with a cherry on top, pretty please. You can have the ice cream and the sundae, just leave me the little cherry. I just need to see your ID. And he goes are you serious? Because most men don't hear the words, I love you. And I said, yeah, man, I got your back. Buy you a shot on your birthday. And he's like, all right, man, all right. And then he came back out and he gave me a couple bucks tip. He's like, hey, I just want to give you a tip. I'm like, hey, I appreciate that. And we chatted for a little bit. And then he took off. And another day, these 5 big, it's part of the story, these 5 big, bodybuilder black men walk up and they're like, hey man, you need to let us in. And I said, hey, one of your boys ain't 18. I can't let you in. He's like, no, you're going to let us in. You can just look the other way. And I said, no, I can't. It's my job, man. If I let you in, I'm not going to have my job. Look at me. You think all these pretty girls are going to talk to me just because I'm standing here? I need this job. And they kept being pushy. And I said, look, I'll tell you what. Your boy turns 21. I got him a shot. I got all you guys 2 shots. I got all you guys 2 shots. You turn 21, you come back. So see, gentle answer turns away wrath. And they looked at me and they're like, okay, man. All right. Josh the Great. That's your new name. That's your new black name, man. That's what we're going to call you from now on. And they did. They came back. Hey, I'm 21. I was like, all right. And I walked them down and I pointed at the bartender and I was like, hey, these guys are on me. And they're like, so they got 10 drinks for free. um, and, you know, I didn't mind, and it made them happy, it made everyone happy. But that was a good way that I was able to use wisdom to be socially competent. I was able to use wisdom to go above and beyond. And pretty soon, even some of the bartenders would come up to me and say, I'm like, one of my friends said, she said, I'm really cute. I'm like really sexually attractive. And people are coming up to me and saying like, oh, you're friends with Josh the bouncer? He is so cool. And some of the bartenders started getting jealous. Like, how are you getting so much attention? And I'm like the cute female bartender. And I said, I'm just me. But the secret is I'm very generous with love. And a lot of people, when they think of love, they think of romance, but love in the Bible is unconditional love. And a lot of people don't have that. So I try to feed people that when I feel that they have empty hearts. And I'll ask people too, hey, do you need prayer about anything? What? No. And I'd say, no. Like, you don't have any dreams or ambition. There's no family drama you need help with, like a hurt aunt or uncle. Yeah, you know what? I'm trying to do this thing and I'm really frustrated. I'm like, all right, I'll make sure to pray for that. Or you want me to pray real quick? And they'd be like, yeah, okay. And then we pray and they're like, man, that was pretty cool. And you need to stay in their comfort zones because people don't want you to pray for like 25 minutes. So I pray for like 90 seconds. Thanks, man. Like, I feel a lot better. Or one of my friends, an older man, he used to even be a Freemason. He said, I prayed for him because he used to have high blood pressure and he used to feel that he did something bad. And I was like, I don't feel heaven saying something bad about you. I feel that it's just some demons trying to get into your head. And I healed his high blood pressure and I healed his back pain. And he was just like, he just really relaxed. And he said, man, I'm so happy that the youth are still going after God. I was really worried they weren't. I was like, yeah, man, I gotcha. Anyway, so what I'm trying to say is I love you guys. Make sure you tell those important to you that you love them. Make sure you work towards things that are good and that are meaningful and important to you. You know, make sure you're praying for the life you want. Like, you're having hard times with your relationships, with your wife, with your husband. Are you praying? Are you praying? Are you praying that God works? Like, Christians don't do magic. We do miracles. And nobody wants to use miracles. Everyone's like, oh, I want magic. If only I was Avatar the Last Airbender or Naruto or Goku or Ichigo or Luffy. And then I'm like, have you tried prayer? Like, it works really well. Oh, no, I don't pray. Like, okay, well. Proverbs 13. A wise son responds to his father's discipline, but a mocker doesn't listen to rebuke. So we're going into basic wisdom here. So what is discipline? Discipline, because I asked God, I was like, what is discipline? Because we've all seen a lot of bad parenting, a lot of bad systems. So discipline is just imparting knowledge, kind of like pushing knowledge to make you turn a direction. So if discipline is like, I want my son to turn towards washing the car, not breaking the car. Like, son, we wash the car, we're careful, don't be in such a rush. You need to learn to do things good. You need to learn to take pride. So like, pride in what you do, not like pride goes before the fall. So, if you don't want to like spend a lot of time washing the car as your chore, you can, I'll give you my debit card and you can take the car to the car wash. And they got a bunch of hoses to vacuum and you can vacuum everything out, make everything nice, take some cleaner and then come back. That's not bad. Or you can, do it yourself here, et cetera, et cetera. So discipline's important, and one of the problems is if your parents didn't grow up Christian, they might be bad at discipline, or they might be bad at discipline in general. But all things are from God's point of view, right? Your parents are supposed to reflect God. And so if they're not reflecting God, just go to God, like talk to God, think about God, work with God. Like, hey, my parents are really pissing me off. How is this actually supposed to work? My parents are being really disrespectful. How is it supposed to work? My parents are bothering me. Can you help me fix this? And how is this supposed to work? How do you want this done? Because we listen to our parents because God wants his wisdom to pass to them, to you. And if they're not passing wisdom and intelligence and understanding and integrity and righteousness, then we'll just go straight to God. We'll go to the actual source of the information. But a mocker doesn't listen to rebuke. So sometimes your parents or your friends are going to have good information, like, hey, don't cheat on your wife. Hey, don't watch pornography. And a mocker or someone stupid or foolish just blows it off. Oh, who cares? It's not going to matter. But you start cheating on your wife. Now you're divorced. Now your finances are in ruin. Now your children are going to be hurt. Your friends are wondering why you don't have integrity. Stuff like that. Like, oh, hey, maybe you shouldn't spend all your money on video games. Like, you can only play so many video games anyway. Buy them one at a time. They're not leaving. Like, you only need one, maybe two, right? Or, you have a kid. Why are you ignoring him to play video games? Like, have him sit in the room with you. Have him play his own video games. Get a second TV. Play video games with your son. Verse 2. From the fruit of his mouth, a person will enjoy good things, but a treacherous people have an appetite for violence. So from the fruit of his mouth. So fruit means like fruitfulness. So it has to do with planting crops. So let's say you want like strawberries. You plant strawberries and then you tend to them, you water them and give them plant food and make sure there's no bugs. And then you have strawberries. So you have fruitfulness. Same thing with like oranges or everything you do. So from your mouth, it's saying like, the things you talk about, the things you work into reality, the things you spiritually work at, a person will get to cultivate the good things that they do. So like I am very generous with love. So I have a lot of very good relationships. I've got a lot of very loving relationships. Just yesterday, one of my friends put her hand on my shoulder and said, I would never do something mean to you. She basically said sweet. She said, you're too easy to get along with, but she's like, you're very sweet, basically, is what she was saying. And so it's like that. You want to not get entangled into nonsense. Don't fight with your teammates, try to work things out. Hey man, like, you're being like really aggressive. Is everything okay? Is something wrong with your family? Like, do you need help with anything? You need me to bring you some food? And usually people will chill out because when people don't understand how to get an answer, that's when they get really antagonistic. Okay, verse 3. The one who guards his mouth protects his life. The one who opens his lips invites his own ruin. So what I was just talking about, teammate or someone gets really agitated and they start trying to fight with you. Maybe you're in a bad relationship and your girlfriend or wife is being really mean and antagonistic and just snapping at you nonstop. You can't lose control of your mouth. You cannot lose control. You have a responsibility to do good and be good. And so it's like, hey, like I just had to say to one of my girlfriends one time, this is really mean and making me sad. And she said, well, this is how everyone is. And I said, well, maybe a lot of people. But it really hurts my feelings. Can you be a little more gentle? I'm listening to you. Like if I did something wrong, we can talk about it and I will try to change so I don't do something wrong again. And I'm not saying that I agree with you or I will always agree with you, but we'll have a conversation and I will do my very best to make sure I don't hurt your feelings or say something mean or do something you don't want. And all you have to do is talk to me. And we will work that out. And then if that doesn't work, we can talk about that. And she really calmed down and she said, okay. So the one who opens his lips, so basically saying the one who is reactive, because I could have just been like, you're mean. I could have said, you're a bitch and I hate you. And that would have not helped the relationship. And we almost got married. We came really close to getting married. Um, uh, so yeah, the slacker craves yet has nothing, but the diligent is fully satisfied. So you've probably seen this, like a lazy friend that's really kind of pathetic. By the way, if you have a lazy, lethargic friend who's kind of pathetic, the best thing to do is pray for them, because they usually have a spiritual drama or weight that they can't get past. So you probably have slacker friends. They don't do their homework. They have bad grades. They have nothing going for them. And you're just like, well, of course you don't have a girlfriend. You don't talk to girls. Well, girls just hate me. No, you don't talk to girls. Well, girls don't like fat guys. I mean, most girls like an athletic guy. A lot of girls just like a great guy. You can either join the gym or find a girlfriend that is attracted to other things. There's a lot of overweight men who find love. But if all you do all day is eat junk food and sit on a couch, you're not going to get very far in anything. What are your dreams? You're not working. Oh, well, it's never going to come true. What? Okay. What was one story that happened to me? I was telling a coworker of mine, I said, yeah, I worked on the show. They talked about us on CNN once. That was really cool. I used to work for these 2 video game companies. I went to Paris and London, and I'm going to Japan next week, and I do painting. And she was like, you do all this? I said, yeah, I look like a hobo. I look like I'm homeless, but like I do a lot of really cool stuff. And a lot of people have said that, like, oh, you think you're gonna learn to paint? Like, yeah. Oh, you think you're gonna get popular with ladies? Like, yeah, I talk to people and I'm really kind-hearted, so I make friends really quick. And then I heard it all. Oh, you think you're gonna... One of my friends said, you're not gonna be this great movie director. And I said, you don't know that. I haven't tried yet. I haven't tried. Like, the guy who made Naruto had not really made anything before, and it worked. And like, you don't know, because I haven't tried. Like, you can't... Maybe I won't, but you don't know that. Like, you can say that, but like, what do you know about anything? And he was like, okay, that's fair. And it was a real demonic thing for him to say, and I could tell that it was demonically influenced, but I still had to be gentle, because just because it was a demonically influenced thought didn't mean he knew it was a demonically influenced thought. So I was very like calm. I made sure to like not get agitated by the voice of the demonic. 5, the righteous hate lying, but the wicked bring disgust and shame. So this is very like wisdom basics. The righteous hate lying. So why? I hate lying because being righteous and good, like a paladin, like being righteous and good protects you. So when people come up and they say, oh, you did this or you did that, I can say, no, I don't act like that. I never act like that. I don't act like that. Obviously the other person's lying. Okay, that's true. That's true. You are consistent. So because I'm rarely in trouble, because I try to be good and righteous, it protects me against liars. It protects me against a lot of problems. And because I'm protected against a lot of problems, I can do a lot of great things in my life. But the wicked bring disgust and shame. So when you're someone who lies a lot, people are going to expect you to lie a lot. And so it'll be hard to do a lot of dramatic and dynamic moves in life if everyone knows you're not dependable, for example. Righteousness guards people of... Oh, no. Yeah, okay, so we're back to it again. Righteousness guards people of integrity, but wickedness undermines the sinner. Righteousness guards people of integrity, but wickedness undermines the city. Righteousness guards people of integrity. Okay, so it's just like what I was saying. Righteousness guards people of integrity, people who stick to their morals and work hard for what is good and what is honest. But wickedness undermines the sinner. So when you're someone who's doing things you know are wrong, that's what a sinner is. You know what's right, you know God, and you choose to do wrong anyway. Doing wickedness will make your life worse. My roommate just shut his door. I wasn't sure if he was waking up or just shutting the door, so he probably didn't have to hear me talk. One person pretends to be rich, but has nothing. Oh, sorry. But wickedness undermines the sinner. So yeah, so it can make your life worse. And on top of that, wickedness will catch up to you because you're making a lot of bad choices, and eventually you'll reap what you sow. Eventually those choices will come back to you. Verse 7, one person pretends to be rich but has nothing. One person pretends to be rich, okay. Another pretends to be poor but has abundant wealth. I haven't. A lot of people have seen that. I haven't so much. When I was in high school, someone had like a new car and a lot of brand clothing, and he was upset that he said, why am I not getting more attention? Why don't people know that I'm cool? And some of my friends had to tell him, like, well, you're not talking to people. You're just parading. Like, you need to socialize. Pretends to be poor but has abundant wealth. So there's probably different ways to see this. I don't have a lot of money, but I've learned a lot of skills. Like, I know film, I have good communication, I know the Bible, I have the powers to do miracles, I have a wealth of scientific information just because I like science. I know how to paint. So it can be like that. I have a friend used to like bring me out to eat a lot with him. And I reminded him, like, you don't have to pay. Just because I have no money, because at the time I didn't, doesn't mean you need to like bring me out to eat. And he said, Josh, no matter what, you're always like good company to have around. Like, if I invite you to dinner and I don't pay for you, you'll just say like, I'll just have a soda, and then you'll drink a soda and you'll still have a happy time with us. And then if I buy you food, it doesn't really change anything. You're like, oh, thank you for the food, and then you have a happy time with us. And so even when you don't have money, there's something you can always bring to people's lives: love, joy, hope, commitment. Just shine, right? Does the Bible say you're a light to the world? Don't let yourself be put under a jar. Verse 8, riches are a ransom for a person's life, but a poor person hears no threat. So don't get caught up in money. There's a freedom in poverty that you don't have when you're rich. So let's say you make a lot of money, but now you own like now you are part of things that are expensive. A fancy car that breaks down is going to cost a fancy amount of money. They say that on money talk shows. Be careful, just because you gain more money, people who gain more money will suddenly buy like 2 nice cars and then a nice house, and then suddenly, there's taxes on all of this, and the nice cars take more gas and have higher insurance, and so they're more expensive. And so that can kind of be a ransom for your life. The light of the righteous shines brightly, but the lamp of the wicked is put out. So at work, like, things will go wrong sometimes. I'll get some managers that'll make really bad decisions. And so when I get angry and I talk to other managers, they know I'm an honest and righteous person, so they listen to me. And because I do honest and righteous things, when I get angry about something that's going on, they understand immediately that there's going to be truth to what I say. Hey, I didn't like this policy. It's making my life harder. I'm trying to do a good job, but this is getting in my way. Like, what the heck am I supposed to do about it? Well, no, not well. Am I going to get in trouble for this or not? And so they don't blow me off. They don't say like, oh, it's just Josh throwing a temper tantrum. It's like, well, we know Josh is someone who brings up things when they need to be brought up. The lamp of the wicked is put out. So we have to remember the lamp is like spiritual light. So the lamp of the wicked is put out. I'll see people at work who get distracted easy or are lazy or don't do their work. And then when they get upset, nobody really pays attention because we all know, like, you don't get anything done. You know, people say, oh, can you help me make sure I get all my work done? And I just look at them and say, you're on your phone your whole shift. No, like, get off your phone. You can wear headphones, but like, stop playing video games while you're at work. And so they often get in trouble and then they pretend that they're upset. And I say, no, you can't be upset. You don't do work. Oh, well, I'm just depressed. Pray, work. Arrogance leads to nothing but strife, but wisdom is gained by those who take advice. So be careful with being arrogant. And that can be hard because sometimes you're on your own. Sometimes your parents have never been there for you. Your friends have never been there for you. So you've become arrogant because you feel hurt, and that's become bitter. And so you kind of like lash out, because when you lash out because you're arrogant, you're trying to find somebody who's competent, who can help you be a shoulder for life, who can help you get out of the mud, help you stand up, and help encourage you, and then you'll encourage them. But you have to be careful, because being arrogant is kind of like being a social bully. And you need to be arrogant with God. Like, this sucks. I don't know why you're doing this. You need to explain yourself, and then God will. And then you can say, okay, you know, like, I know your life sucks right now. God might say, but it's only going to suck for a while. Okay, only a while. I can do only a while. I can make something of myself, and this will just be like a season where I just struggle, and then I won't have to struggle later. Okay. Wisdom is gained by those who take advice. Yeah, I had a friend, she was always depressed. She said, like, I don't know why life is worth it. I don't know why I'm here. Like, I'm always depressed. And I said, you're going to be okay. Like, you're okay. You're smart. Life might suck now, but you're going places. Like, just give it a second. Like, you were 16, like 3 years ago. Just wait a minute, and you're going to be okay. You've got a lot going for you, and you're full of love. And she told me later, she was just like, thank you. I just talking to you made me feel better. Like, I could do it. And I was like, yeah, you're welcome. And I was thinking, how powerful is Christianity that, like, 10 seconds of conversation with myself changed her whole outlook on life. Wealth obtained by fraud will dwindle, but whoever earns it through labor will multiply it. So yeah, fraud. I was watching this guy on this judge show, and he said, yeah, he had like been part of this group that stole like $100,000, and the judge was saying, so what happened to it? And he said, you know, just life, a little bit here, a little bit there. And this other Dave Ramsey show, there was a guy who won like $1.5 million from a scratcher, and he said he just like gambled it away and whatnot. and not that I'm saying, the lottery is fraud, but coming up with a grand scheme to like rob a bank or rob a friend or something, that money is going to be spent on things. But if you earn it through labor, so if you earn it through your dreams and working hard, you've learned skills and you've learned how to take what you have and turn it into more. And so as you do that more and more and more and more in life, you'll get more and more. There's this artist I like named, I think her name's, I don't know if I'm saying it right, Akiani. And she just painted just nonstop. And now her paintings are worth millions of dollars. So for like, 15 years, they're worth nothing. And then all of a sudden, boom. And it's something to think about when chasing your dreams. Whoever earns it through labor will multiply it. So I always tell people, do your comedy online, put your stuff online, read your books online. Oh, well, it's hard to get millions of subscribers. I'm like, yeah, but if you got like 500,000 subscribers, you could quit your job. That's like $100,000 a year at least. That's more than you need to live, and then you can do what you want full time and get more subscribers. So don't quit just because things are hard. When you get these routines going, when it becomes your engine, your spiritual engine, like life really comes under your control. I don't have a lot of money, and I'm always worried about like a car accident, right? Because that would really ruin me. So each day when I'm about to go to work, I say, God, please protect me. Please protect my car. Please let the roads be safe. Please let us get to work safely without any incident. Because I don't want any of that. So that's a way I can protect my future even when my life is essentially at risk in certain ways. Hope delayed makes the heart sick. Ain't that true? But desire fulfilled is a tree of life. I'm gonna look that up. Okay, I'm back. I feel like this is like a middle point. What is this? A wise son responds to his father's... Okay. So this one didn't really have a title. So Proverbs 13:12. Hope delayed makes the heart sick. So there are things we long for that can be held back or have a longer period than we think. So for example, God has talked to me about getting married, and I thought I'd be married by now, and it was really hard. I cried quite a few times. My friend Becca has been there because she wants to get married too. And so we eventually decided just to have faith that, because we know God either does good stuff or great stuff or like super great stuff, exceptional stuff. And so we decided to really trust him because we've seen what happens to prophets in the Bible. Abraham kind of lied to himself. Him and his wife lied to himself. Oh, maybe God meant for you to have a kid with the maid. Like, what? What? And so it's easy for prophets to get frustrated and upset and depressed because they have to go through prophetic training and they forget they're going through prophetic training. But I don't want to be like that. I want to, every time I'm upset, to try harder, to work harder. So that way I can use this time before I get married to really excel at being prophetic, at being an era level leader. And that's important to me, and that should be important to you guys too, because when life gets really hard, if you can stand up in that process, no matter how much misery you have or how miserable it is, you will grow faster than everybody. I was invited to do drugs with some very attractive women one time, and they said, hey, do you want to go rolling with us? And I said, what's that? And it apparently has to do with pill use. And I said, no, I'm always happy. I don't need pills to be happy. And she said, oh, I do. And I said, okay, on a 1 to 10, how do you feel most days? And she's like, between a 3 and a 5. I said, and then she said, how do you feel most days? And I said, an 8, but I can go up to a 13 if I want to. So if I talk to heaven, I can get a 13. One time I said, hey God, I really like Pegasus. It's like that winged horse from mythology. I want to see a Pegasus. I want you to like either make one and show it to me or something. And so God showed me a Pegasus flying in heaven, and it was so beautiful it almost hurt. I was like, whoa, so beautiful. And so that's how I can go to a 13, because I got to see heaven and see an actual Pegasus in heaven. And that's like a 13. That's a scientific discovery. That's a scientific achievement. That is doing a miracle. That is seeing something more precious than like an awesome movie. So hope delayed makes the heart sick, definitely. But desired fulfilled, like doing miracles, is the tree of life. So it's comparing it to the tree of life, right? Comparing it to Jesus, comparing it to the tree of life in the Garden of Eden. This is the fruit that brings us to forever. This is the fruit that persists forever. This is what life is all about. It is like accomplishing what you set out to accomplish and then doing it again. When I finally learned to do art, not only did I know how to draw cool art that I wanted to draw, as much as I like other people's art about people and bubbles and horses, I painted cyberpunk. I painted things that should be in the Matrix. And then I got to call over, really handsome women and say like, hey, can you dress up like you're in the Matrix? And they're like, sure. And then they'd stand there, and I'd take photos and I'd paint it. And then I sold that painting for $300, and that painting true story, this painting won an award, and they hung it at college in the main entranceway of the college for people to see for 3 months as they entered the building. It was like, yeah. And it was great. And then all the people who were mean to me in my art class, all these girls that were really mean, saw that I was like trying, and I accomplished really good art, and then I was winning awards and making money, and they were just like, what? And it was just the best ending ever. So verse 13, the one who has contempt for instruction will pay the penalty, but the one who respects a command will be rewarded. So I saw that too. I saw that in art class, people would only do like what they were good at, and then I would practice what I was bad at. And so suddenly, after a year, I was keeping up with everybody, and they hadn't learned new skills. And then they'd mess up and they'd erase and start over, and they'd mess up and they'd erase and start over, and they'd mess up and erase and start over. And I would mess up, and then I would say, why did I mess up? What did I do wrong? Oh, this is this. Okay, wait, what? This. Okay, wait, what? Explain it different. 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 You explain it. Oh, okay, I got it now. Crap. Okay, tell me about this new thing. And the teacher didn't mind. The teacher's like, wow, Josh is really trying. My classmates minded. But then suddenly it was working, and it was working, and it was working. And then I was good at everything all of a sudden. So contempt for instruction, and you see that. I would tell people in school, read the chapter before the lecture in class. If you read the chapter before the lecture in class, you'll get an easy A. If you don't, you're gonna have to struggle. My dad said, do 10% more work and you can spend 90% less effort. And so I'm getting all these good grades, and everyone's like, why? I'm like, read that chapter. Okay. And then suddenly they're like, whoa, that was so easy. I'm like, I told you. But the one who respects a command will be rewarded. I don't always want to do what I'm told. Sometimes at work I get moved to other departments, and it's boring. But I try to remember I'm getting paid. And I'll spend that time praying, like against abortion, or I'll pray that my friends have a good Christmas, or I'll pray that God has a wonderful time, playing with his children. Um, so yeah, when you can make the most or be honorable when you're being told what to do, um, there'll be opportunities that open up. Um, like last week, they said, "Hey, Josh, you need to go work over here," and I said, "Nope, no, I'm not. I'm not going over there because last time the managers were not focused, and I almost got in trouble for something that wasn't my fault." And I was respectful, and they said, "Okay, well, we're gonna put you over here." Okay, cool. And then another manager came up. He's like, "Hey, Josh, I know you don't want to work over there. Can you work over here for me?" Sure, sure, absolutely. Um, so they knew I was cooperative, and so they were willing to work with me. I was just respectful. They're willing to work with me, and there was a reward because, when I'm told to do something, I'm willing to do it. Um, a wise person's instruction is a fountain of life, turning people away from the snares of death. So I collect wisdom. So we'll say that I'm a wise person. So a friend of mine, he says, "Oh my gosh, I need a new job." Why? Why do you need a new job? You make good money here. You live with your grandparents. You don't pay rent. Like, what do you need a new job for? Oh, well, I need like this much. I need like $500 or $600 more a month. My friend, how often do you eat out? Like every day? Like once a day or twice a day? Oh, like twice a day. Okay, so that's like $40 you're spending a week. So let's say you're doing it 5 times a week. That's like $200 a week times 4 weeks a month. So that's $800 right there. I think I did my math right. So just stop eating out. And I was like, learn to cook and meal prep. Oh, I don't like to cook. And nobody likes to cook. You put on some music, you put on some headphones, you listen to some tunes, and then you learn to make food you want to eat. Don't just cook food you want to eat, and then bam, you have food you want to eat, and you actually eat it. And then you put that into Tupperware, and then you bring that Tupperware to work. And the next week, he was like, "Oh my God, Josh, it worked. Like, I'm eating healthier. I feel healthier. I don't feel so depressed. I'm eating good food. I'm losing weight. I'm staying in shape. I can stay awake longer. I have more energy." I'm like, "I told you." He's like, "Yeah, now I have all this money." I'm like, "I told you." Turning away from the snares of death. And I tell other people, like, "Oh, I have high anxiety." Are you sleeping? You're sleeping like 5 hours a day, aren't you? Yeah. There's just so much anxiety. Yeah, how many cups of coffee are you having a day? Well, 2 or 3. Yeah, that's a lot of caffeine. And then, you exercising at all? No. Did you used to exercise a lot? Yes. Okay. And then, what was the other one? Are you eating healthy food? Are you eating like Hot Pockets and Pop-Tarts? Well, yeah. Yeah, food's cheap if you buy the materials, if you buy vegetables and fruits and rice and pasta and beans, so why don't you try doing those things? Have you told anybody that you love them lately? Have you told those important closest to you love them? Well, no. Okay. Are you studying any philosophy? You don't have to be Christian, but are you studying anything that's like promotes goodness and love? No. Okay, why don't you do these 7 things and then tell me you have anxiety? And then she did those 7 things, and she's like, "My anxiety went way down, Josh." I'm like, "Yeah, I told you." And not only that, so turning people away from the snares of death. My friend did that to her brother. He said, "Oh, I've been having all this anxiety." And she remembered what I said. And she said, "Have you slept in a while?" He's like, "No, I haven't slept a whole night in like 6 months." And she goes, "Why don't you sleep tonight and then tell me you have anxiety?" "I don't see how that's going to help." She goes, "Why don't you sleep tonight?" So he got 8 hours of sleep. And then the next day he called his sister. "Oh, I feel so much better." Yeah. 15. Good sense wins favor, but the way of the way of the treacherous never changes. So good sense, right? So you try to do good things, people are going to trust you more. People are going to let their guard down. You're going to meet their friends that'll turn into relationships. The way of the treacherous never changes. So living in an inappropriate lifestyle is a bad habit that you just can't quit. You need to lock down these good things because they pay out. And that's the hard part is, it's like the dark side of the force. It's seductive and easier in many ways. But you want the benefits of a good life, not just the benefits of a quick win. You want everything in your life to be great and become greater. And that comes with wisdom and integrity and righteousness. Whereas just doing what you want will pay out very little. Your efforts in life when you're righteousness, like your friends will tell other friends how great you are, and then they'll want to like spend time with you and bring their greatness to you. But if you're treacherous, everyone's going to want to avoid you, and they're going to tell everyone they're going to avoid you. So it multiplies both ways. Proverbs 13:16. Every sensible person acts knowledgeably, but a fool displays his stupidity. Every sensible person acts knowledgeably, but a fool displays his stupidity. Every sensible person acts knowledgeably. Every sensible person acts knowledgeably. So we see again what happens when you do Sorry, I get a lot of ideas and I'm debating pausing this. Yeah, I'm going to pause this and write this idea down. Okay. So being sensible is good, and the Bible and the authors are depicting how you act when you're sensible. You act with knowledge, so you act according to what you've learned. But a fool displays his stupidity. So acting sensible is to act with knowledge, but a fool is going to show that he's stupid. And you see this a lot especially in like politics these days. You just see people screaming. Yeah, well, scream, 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 scream. When people start screaming, they're trying to prove that you should shut down because they're scary. And that's not how you win an argument. And so we see a lot of foolishness there because they're not trying to learn from wisdom, and they're not trying to learn from God, and they're not trying to learn from history, and they're not trying to learn from experience, and they're not trying to learn from math. They're just trying to learn from gossip. And so they scream. And that is stupid and foolish, and you don't want to follow that. You don't need to agree with what people are saying politically, because all politics is how we want to run society. And when people start screaming, it's just dumb and bad. A wicked envoy falls into trouble, but a trustworthy courier brings healing. So a wicked envoy. So a group. Oh, what's an envoy? Hang on. Okay, so these are people that bring messages. A wicked envoy, someone who brings messages. A trustworthy courier, someone who brings packages or messages, probably too. So someone bringing gossip back and forth and just helping promote wickedness, you're going to get trapped because of who you associate with and because of what's around you. So it's dumb and bad if you want to bring goodness to your children, to your cousins, to your brothers and sisters, to your parents, to who you love. But a trustworthy courier brings healing. So someone who brings good messages and respects the messages that they're bringing, they'll help situations. So just passively, it's saying also, just by being trustworthy, you're going to help secure people around you and help make everything stronger and better and greater. All right, 18. Poverty and disgrace come to those who ignore discipline, but the one who accepts correction will be honored. And so that's important too. I had friends who had full rides to college. I had two friends who had all of their bills paid for, their living expenses paid for, their food paid for, their classes paid for, their books paid for, to go all 4 years in at Texas A&M. I had friends at other colleges. I had like I think 3 or 4 friends. Everything's paid for. The only thing you have to do is pass your classes, and they didn't pass their classes. It's like, yeah, I failed out of college, and I turned, and I got so loud. I said, you, what, why, how? I thought my mom and dad would have given their left arm to give me a free ride, for me to have a free ride to college, for them to have been able to pay for college. And he said, well, just all the partying and stuff. What are you supposed to say when people invite you? I said, you say no. You get all your homework done, or you get your homework done early. Like, you wake up, you go straight to the books, you get all your projects done, and then you have time to party. When I was in college, my friends really wanted me to graduate because, if I start making money, that means there's a little more to go around. Maybe Josh buys some new board games, and then my friend Jeff gets to play new board games, right? I buy new video games, and my friend Jeff gets to borrow those video games. So he wants me to, maybe Josh goes out to eat, and I pay for Jeff because I got a good job. So he's like, hey, let's play some video games. And I said, I have homework. He's like, never mind. No. He's like, hey, let's play some video games. I was like, I got homework. Never mind. Even at work one time, they said, hey, we really need you. And I said, I have 5 papers due. Oh, yeah, I'm not coming in. Oh, yeah, I can't come in. Well, she's like, well, I was like, if you schedule me, I will still not come in. And my boss said, okay, fine. It's like, I have 5 papers to write. I think I had 3 1.5-page papers, a 3-page paper, and a 5-page paper. She said, okay. So you don't want to ignore discipline. Those who accept correction will be honored. So yeah, one of my buddies, he was doing this pretty good job at work 2 days ago, yesterday, and my boss came up and said, hey, you need to not be on your phone where everyone can see you. You shouldn't be on your phone at all, but especially where, everyone can see you. And we get it. Sometimes there's a little bit of a break, but you need to not be on your phone. And he said, okay, I'm sorry. And because of that, he got to keep doing that job, which was a better job to do. It was kind of more fun, easier, but you needed to be somebody who could work when no one's paying attention, and not a lot of people are good at that. And so that was part of the discipline. Like, you need to, if you have to take a phone call, go to a break room, otherwise find something to do. And he said, okay, I get that. Thanks for being straightforward. Desire fulfilled, so we're back to that again, is sweet to the taste, so we're back to that. But to turn from evil is detestable to fools. Okay, so now we're at a place where we see what it's like to turn away from the things that aren't helping you, right? Because we've seen that. We've seen friends who are into gangs or violence or drugs start to turn, and then their friends will say, why, man? Why? Why did you want to do this? Why don't you want to do that? And the Bible's reminding you those people are fools and going nowhere. And not only that, not only are they going nowhere, they're destructive. They're destructive to their own lives and the people around them. So it's saying, hey, getting what you're after is going to be so great. It's going to look so awesome. You're going to love it. But there's going to be this painful section where the people you used to hang out with, it turns out they're really foolish. So don't feel pressured to go back and hang out with them. A lot of people would invite me to smoke weed, and while I don't have a problem with people who kind of have a hobby where they drink wine or smoke, I don't like smoking because I find a lot of people who smoke aren't as ambitious as I am. I like to do projects. I like to do art. I like to just spend all of my time creating awesome stuff. And people who smoke tend to like spending a lot of their time smoking. Um, and uh, and so some of those people would get really, really feisty with me. And I would just say, I appreciate the offer, but like it's not my thing. So yeah, I'm playing with this little clippy thingy. Don't be afraid to turn away from your friends who are foolish. You can always ask God for great friends who will help you become awesome. Think about Naruto and Sasuke. They both made themselves better. Naruto wanted to always keep up with Sasuke, and Sasuke always wanted to make sure he was, top boss, top, most awesome, strongest. The one who walks with the wise will become wise, but a companion of fools will suffer a harm. So again, it's kind of like a washing machine. All right, make sure you have good friends. If you hang out with foolish people, you're going to get trapped into foolishness. I had a friend who had a rifle in his car, and he said, oh yeah, I used to shoot at these soda cans in front of grocery stores. They're fun to shoot at. And I was like, oh yeah, that'd be kind of cool to we could shoot at those. And there were people in that store. And he said, yeah, you just, need to hold back the rifle so no one can see it coming out of the car. And my brain went, why is it why would you need to hide it unless it's wrong? And then I was like, oh my God, I'm 19 years old. What just happened that I suddenly lost all common sense and was about to do something that stupid? That would have put me in jail for a little while or a long while if I would have accidentally shot someone. Are you kidding me? I was so like, what just happened? And I remembered something my friend's dad said. I don't like my son hanging out with him because they do stupid things. And I was like, how stupid can someone get up to when they're hanging out? And I was just like, oh my God, how did this happen? Because I've always had a strong gift of discernment. I'm like, I didn't smell anything demonic. There wasn't anything seductive. There wasn't anything satanic. There wasn't anything witchcraft. Was that just charisma? Was that just enticement? To this day, I have no idea what happened. But after that moment, I decided I am never letting people make decisions for me again. I need to triple check every decision in my life that I'm not doing something stupid that somebody had suggested to me. Yeah, always turn from evil. If what you're doing is detestable to fools, that's okay. I would tell a lot of people, they'd ask, how many people have you had sex with? Who are you having sex with? And I'd say, I'm not having sex till I'm married. What? Why? And I said, because I am not having a kid until I'm ready. And they said, well, I said, no, I'm not having a kid until I'm ready. And they'd say, yeah, I get that. And some people have made fun of me. One of my best friends made fun of me. And then my other best friend said, I don't know, maybe Josh is going to be a wizard. And then turned out I got the 9 gifts of the Holy Spirit. And then that friend was like, I want those gifts too. I want those gifts too. I want those gifts too. And I was like, all right. So I prayed and then he got them. Don't worry about fools, but man, they're gonna hurt your feelings. They're gonna hurt your feelings and make it hard to walk away. But you need to walk away because the people who love you and depend on you need you to be smart and awesome and dependable. And the future people who want to depend on you need you to be smart and awesome and incredible. So you need to do these things for yourself and for those you love. And because you want to be awesome, you want to be Goku, you want to be Naruto, and you can't do that unless you're righteousness and you pin your faith on God, because God is dependable. I don't need you to like God. A lot of you aren't going to like God. A lot of you are going to hate God. But I need you to believe in Jesus because I need you to get possessed by the Holy Spirit. Because the Holy Spirit, when it possesses you, gives you unconditional love, power, and self-control, which is the ability to kind of like choose your destiny because you have control over who you are and you become less uncontrollable to yourself. The one who walks with the wise will become wise, but a companion of fools will suffer harm. The one who walks with the wise will become. So, one of my best friends at work, she and I just chit chat a lot, and just knowing me, she has learned how to think. She has learned how to be more mature. One time, I heard her talking to friends, and she said, "Yeah, I used to have a really hard time saying no, and then I met Josh, and I turned and I said, 'What? Excuse me, what? What is this story?' And she said, 'Yeah, I used to have a hard time.' And then you said, or she said, 'I used to have a hard time saying no.' And then you said, 'Why? It's just no.' And I heard my sarcasm in her voice. And she said, 'And then I wasn't afraid to say no anymore.' And I was like, that's really cool. But companion of fools will suffer harm. Yeah, so one of my friends said, just have sex whenever you want. So you get a couple of girls pregnant, you have a few kids, that's what God wants. And I said, no, it's not what God wants. Don't tell me that bullshit. Don't tell me that. You know that's not true. And he goes, well, kids are a blessing. I'm like, yeah, but I want a wife. I want to have kids with my wife. He goes, it's not that much more complicated. And I said, no, don't tell me that crap. You don't even believe that crap. Tell me that crap. Knock it off. And he said, okay, I'm sorry. And he walked away. I had one friend in art class. I said, Merry Christmas. And I said, baby, Jesus loves you. And she said, well, what if I'm not Christian? I said, oh, Jesus loves you anyway. And she goes, well, you should say happy holidays. I was like, I don't care if your holidays are happy. I care if you have a good Christmas. And if you know Jesus loves you. She goes, well, what about all the people that are going to feel angry and upset that you didn't wish them happy holidays and they're hurt? And she had that kind of angry feminism. And I said, well, then they have a bad day. It's okay. They can be a little sad. They'll be happy. Someone else can make them happy. And she just thought about that. She was like, I never thought about it that way. I was like, yeah, sometimes people are going to have a bad day and I shouldn't be responsible for everyone's happiness, but, Merry Christmas. She was like, oh, happy holidays. I was like, cool. But a companion of fools will suffer harm. Yeah. Be careful. The Bible says, don't be unequally yoked, which is like two horses pulling something together or two ox. They want to pull it together so that way one isn't doing more work. So it's saying don't be unequally yoked in your friendships. Because when you're a companion of fools, you just spend all of your time helping the person who doesn't want to improve their lives. One of my friends was recently depressed. He was dating a married woman and he broke up with her. And then all of a sudden everything was becoming better. He was full of light. There was this dark energy that was no longer around him. He started making good choices, eating healthier. He lost 40 pounds. It was good. And I said, hey man, I'm your friend, but that was the first and last time you get to have an adulterous relationship. I probably would have stopped being his friend earlier, but God showed me a vision where he became godly later on. And I thought, okay, all right. So I was like, that was your first and last time. And he said, okay. All right, good. Disaster pursues sinners, but good rewards the righteous. So yeah, when you are okay just doing dumb stuff, I know people, wow, why don't I get any girlfriends? Why am I not married? Well, how much of your time are you spending looking at porn? Because you're not out trying to secure relationships. You're not out working towards what's righteous. You're not out doing what's good. You're not out working your dreams into progress. You're just wasting your time. The good rewards the righteous. Good rewards the righteous. What's a good example? But when you're, not wasting your time, now you're working on your TV shows and your books and your job and your wife, and you're spending time with your wife, and you're going out and making your relationship better, working on your problems, maturing, spending time, being awesome, deciding what you want. Good rewards the righteous. You know, your life is full of the choices you make it, instead of just giving your body pleasure and assuming that's enough, because it's not, because God built the universe. And so you need to work with how the universe is built to get maximum awesome and maximum reward and maximum, you know, phenomenability. I got to go to Japan for 12 days because, you know, I made good choices. I saved my money, I saved my time, I worked with my job, and for $2,800, I spent 12 days in Japan, and I had the best time of my life. But if I was just wasting all my time and doing things I shouldn't, I wouldn't have been able to make that happen. A good man leaves an inheritance to his grandchildren, but a sinner's wealth is stored up for the righteous. So nothing kind of steals your money away, but if you have like a mistress, you know, there's money, and then there's reputation damage, and then you're wasting time. So you're not getting promoted, you're not harvesting your harvests and making your life better and your people around your lives better. Sinners, so if you're spending all your time being an alcoholic or gambler, your money's gonna go away. But if you're not spending your time being an alcoholic, and I'm not saying it's wrong to drink, but I'm saying being an alcoholic is wrong. Being a gambler is wrong. I'm not saying gambling is wrong, but being someone with a gambling problem is wrong. So sinner's wealth is stored up for the righteous. So as righteous people come up and they start righteous businesses, you know, you're going to lose a lot of business, or they do something righteous. The eyes are going to be on them. The processes are going to turn towards them. The parties and events are going to turn towards them. Look at someone like Walter Disney or Jim Henson. Like, look at these people who had these silly ideas and did some of the biggest things in all of human history. And then, you know, if you're a sinner, God might just take what you have and give it to someone that makes him happy, that pleases him by being righteous. There's just no guarantor, there's no protection being a sinner. I often tell people, they'll say like, oh, why don't you go do this? And I say, no, I don't have that kind of luck to go and steal or do something evil or drink and drive. So I don't. Why don't you watch pornography? Well, when I turned the internet off of my phone, I have the internet password protected. Suddenly I was sleeping 8 hours a night and my grades went up 1.5 letters. And then everyone would just look at me and go, oh, really? Really? Okay. All right. I'm not going to make fun of that, Josh. I'm not going to make fun of that. Yeah. I've never heard of someone saying they're not going to do that, but I'm not going to make fun of that, Josh. Like, your grades went up, you're getting all A's and B's, and you're sleeping 8 hours a night? No. You win, man. You win. The uncultivated field of the poor yields abundant food, but without justice, it is swept away. So the people who are righteous, who work with God, even what they don't do in fields they own, even what they don't do in many areas of their life, is going to be productive. It's going to really have a lot. But now you have to maintain society together. So together, the righteous protect what they've cultivated, but without the righteous together, it's just taken away. It's just gone. We see how much the government taxes on everything. You get taxed on your income, the job gets taxed when it pays you, you get taxed on what you buy. What else? Criminals can come and make fraudulent accusations and try and steal from you. Like a small example is I was at work and they tried to take one of my breaks away, and I said, no, I'm here all day, I get that break. And they said, no, you don't. The manager said. And I said, yeah, the manager said that because you're not here all day, I'm here all day, I get that break. Okay, I'll talk to the manager. And then the manager said, no, Josh was right, he and his team are here all day, he gets to take that extra break. Thank you. So that's a small example of how I was able to defend what was mine. So we don't want to lose what we gain together so we can promote it to the future. All right, 2 more. This is a big one, huh? The one who will not use the rod hates his son. So it says spare the rod and spoil the child. When it says rod, it doesn't actually mean like beating stick or beating staff. It means shepherd's rod. So the shepherd rod had a curve or a hook, and if a sheep started to wander away, you just like pull the sheep back, like no this way, because you want to keep them all together. So in case like a bear or lion comes, you can protect them. So like King David, he had his little sling and he would shoot the lions and shoot at the bears and protect his flock, because his flock was how his family survived. It was his job. So it's saying if you don't love your child if you don't correct him. It's not saying beat him or like hurt him with discipline. It's saying correct the behavior. No, we go this way. No, we go that way. No, we don't throw fits in public. The one who loves him disciplines him diligently. Yeah, son, over here. This is how we do this. This is how we play with others. This is how we're not a spoiled brat. Etc., etc., etc. A righteous person eats until he is satisfied, but the stomach of wicked is empty. So overall, when you're righteous, there's enough, so you're always full. And like that's true for me. I always, I can't eat out every day, but I can cook almost everything I want. I always have friends, and when I don't have enough friends, I'll tell God, hey, I need a friend, and he'll bring one to me. Hey God, can I have a pretty friend so I can do photography? Hey God, can I have a cool nerd friend to play Dungeons and Dragons? The guy I live with right now, my buddy, I said, God, I need a dude friend, and can you name him Dalton? And then I had a friend named Dalton, and now I live with him, and we play Dungeons and Dragons. We played Dungeons and Dragons for 12 hours on Sunday. It was amazing. But the stomach of the wicked is empty, because being wicked doesn't pay out. So if you're smart, or you care about yourself, or you want to lead even your gang members to fruition, you need to pull them towards Christ. You need to pull them towards what's good, because you need to be that badass character that does what's diligent, so that way everyone wins. And it's not easy, but it pays out, and it pays out every single time, and then it doubles and doubles and doubles. I love you guys. I have to go to the bathroom. Bye. Okay, I realized I didn't read this in a fantasy voice. Something happened, by the way, when I was on my way to the bathroom. My hand felt like it stung. I was like, that's weird. It feels like I got a high five from God, or a low five, I guess. But I thought that was awesome. And that made me really happy. I might sound silly, I might sound stupid, but I like theater, and this is what we do. Okay, so the fantasy voice. Oh, I'm tired. It's overtime until Christmas. A wise son responds to his father's discipline, but a mocker doesn't listen to rebuke. From the fruit of his mouth a person will enjoy good things, but treacherous people have an appetite for violence. The one who guards his mouth protects his life. The one who opens his lips invites his own ruin. The slacker craves, yet has nothing, but the diligent is fully satisfied. The righteous hate lying, but the wicked bring disgust and shame. Righteousness guards people of integrity, but wickedness undermines the sinner. One person pretends to be rich, but has nothing. Another pretends to be poor, but has abundant wealth. Riches are a ransom for a person's life, but a poor person hears no threat. The light of the righteous shines brightly, but the lamp of the wicked is put out. Arrogance leads to nothing but strife, but wisdom is gained by those who take advice. Wealth obtained by fraud will dwindle, but whoever earns it through labor will multiply it. Hope delayed makes the heart sick, but desire fulfilled is a tree of life. The one who has contempt for instruction will pay the penalty, but the one who respects a command will be rewarded. A wise person's instruction is a fountain of life, turning people away from the snares of death. Good sense wins favor, but the way of the treacherous never changes. Every single person acts knowledgeably, but a fool displays his stupidity. A wicked envoy falls into trouble, but a trustworthy courier brings healing. Poverty and disgrace come to those who ignore discipline, but the one who accepts correction will be honored. Desire fulfilled is sweet to the taste, but to turn from evil is detestable to fools. The one who walks with the wise will become wise, but a companion of fools will suffer harm. Disaster pursues sinners, but good rewards the righteous. A good man leaves an inheritance to his grandchildren, but the sinner's wealth is stored up for the righteous. The uncultivated field of the poor yields abundant food, but without justice it is swept away. The one who will not use the rod hates his son, but the one who loves him disciplines him diligently. A righteous person eats until he is satisfied, but the stomach of the wicked is empty. I love you guys. I'm gonna go to bed.